Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. You can find me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin. My co-host on Twitter at Dynasty_Dale. We're back with round 2 of our mock draft. Hopefully you were there yesterday to hear round 1. And, if you're just joining us for round 2 here, this is a mock draft for an actual league, just so you guys can see the decision-making that goes into it when you have multiple first-round picks, multiple second-round picks, an actual roster to kind of build around. So we're going through round 2 today, and there's going to be some build-off of yesterday's episode, but, if you're on YouTube, I do have all of the picks taken yesterday up on here, as well as the spots and who's picking for what pick on round 2. So if you're just on audio, if you can, leave us a like, comment, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, just help us out there. Tell the podcast to one of your friends. We're just trying to grow all off season, but we appreciate you guys. You guys have been great. There's been a lot of views, a lot of activity lately, and I really do appreciate that. I'm just trying to grow this thing. I'm not the best at all this technology crap. I don't really know how to create the maximum engagement and all this garbage and whatever. So, no, I do appreciate you guys helping us out there. And if there's anything that you'd like to see us do, shoot us some suggestions. And, I'm not crazy enough to assume that I know everything when it comes to creating a podcast. So, no, I definitely am open to suggestions if anybody out there has any. So, again, thank you guys for joining us. And Dale, how are we doing today?
We are doing pretty good. How are you tonight?
Oh, not too bad. I was just complaining. I was just working out right before the podcast, so a little sore, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Kids were a nightmare today. Crazy storms went through the Midwest, and daycare closed at 11
was
o'clock.
Definitely crazy. Yeah, it was definitely crazy. Crazy, like schools were closing left and right, and people were scrambling for everything. So
it was wild.
Thankfully, that's over.
Yep. Didn't even get in a tornado, which is crazy.
Well, it was close enough.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever.
I know.
Whatever. But all right, so round 2 yesterday, Dale had the odds. I had the evens. Today we're gonna swap it up. Today I'm going to take the odds, and that works out well for me because I have the bonus 2.11 that's not on the draft board because you can't add compensatory picks on there for Sleeper. Get your stuff together. Come on. I'm promoting you for free here. Come on. At least all you can do is add a compensatory draft pick slot.
Right.
Context for the league. If you didn't join us yesterday, you're just joining us for today. This is a 1 quarterback, 10-team league, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 flex, 1 tight end, no tight end premium, anything like that. This league is so old that it still has a kicker and a defense, and people refuse to vote them out. So, it's just, that's the kind of league that this one is, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Nobody really cares about the kicker or defense anyway, which is stupid. Why do we have them? But, I'll save my rants for another day. But the one thing about this league that makes it a little different, this league is a 1 quarterback league, but we're more than likely, we're taking the final vote here in a couple months, but more than likely, we're going to be going to Superflex in 2024. And, that means we have 1 more year of playing fantasy with 1 quarterback, and then we all have to transition over to Superflex. Some teams are already there, some teams are not. So it's impacting the drafts a little bit. You can see on the draft board, if you were here yesterday, that, the 1-5 was a quarterback in a 1 quarterback league. And, normally that probably wouldn't happen, but with the transition, thinking forward a little bit is a little bit more beneficial. So, just a little bit of an added wrinkle in this league specifically. All right, so Dale, I'm up on the clock, and I've got the 2-1. This team has an interesting roster. It's obviously so you guys can't see the actual team, but this is the league winner. They were the number 1 team. They won the title last year. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Gardner Minshew, Desmond Ridder, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of quarterbacks. And, I forgot this caveat until the very end yesterday's episode. I'll add it in today. Once we go to Superflex next year, we are all going to have to cut down to 3 quarterbacks. So, having 5 quarterbacks is going to be a detriment. You're going to have to get rid of 2 of these guys anyway. So basically hoarding them does not do anything for you, right? No. So I think it's safe to say with all these quarterbacks, this team is not going to be going quarterback with this pick. Now, running back wise, this team is just loaded. That's why it's the league winner. Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Zeke, Cam Akers, Deion Jackson with Indy, Khalil Herbert, Isaiah Pacheco. Receivers, you got Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, George Pickens, Sky Moore. Tight ends, you got Hawkinson, Irv Smith, Greg Dulcich. It's just a very, very loaded roster. My goodness. So, excuse me. I can basically go anywhere with this pick. And, it's safe to say it's not going to be quarterback and it's not going to be tight end. You're just taking the best player available at this point in time. And if you look at the draft board, it's funny. I don't really love Zay Flowers that much. So the thing is, like, with this pick, you just kind of want to be going for upside, like pure upside, because that's the only way these guys are even going to see the field on this team, right? But I think with this pick, I would be going for someone like I think I'd be going Josh Downs here. And, my reasoning why is because I think Josh Downs is going to be a very reliable slot player. And, more than Zay Flowers, I think I like Josh Downs more. I think the NFL is going to like him more. And I think that he's going to be more of a down the field kind of potential playmaker, red zone kind of threat than a Zay Flowers is. So give me Josh Downs, because if he can turn into a touchdown monster and a yardage monster like he was for North Carolina, that could be very good for this team. So, the team doesn't really need much, but give me Josh Downs here.
Yeah, and that's just going to add to the plethora of riches that this team has. It's almost unfair at this point.
He's probably going to cut Josh Downs. He's not even going to keep him on his roster. He just doesn't have the roster space.
He probably is, and that's gross to think about. So,
all right, so you're up with 2.
All right, so yeah, I'm on the clock with 202, and this team did not pick either in the first round. And at quarterback, they got Geno Smith, Stafford. They got Tua. Guys. What's that?
I say he's got 1 million guys.
Yes, he does. And then he does have Zach Wilson. At running back, he's got Miles Sanders, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, and James Cook. Like, he's pretty solid at running back.
I would agree,
honestly. Yeah. So and then at wide receiver, he's got Alan Lazard, which could be interesting. AJ Hamler, if he ever stays healthy. He does have Jalen Waddle, which is very nice, and Josh Palmer. It's pretty thin at wide receiver. Like his wide receiver 2 is not looking very strong.
Right.
And then at tight end, he has Dalton Schultz, which is a toss-up if he stays healthy. Same with Noah Fant, and then Jelani Woods. So at this point, I'm either thinking of taking a wide receiver or a tight end. And I feel, I do really like Dalton Kincaid, but I also know he will probably be there at 206. Yeah, definite maybe. That is very true, because Calvin has 2 picks in between there, but he does have Kyle Pitts, and I know that,
Dallas
and he has in Dallas Goedert. So I really doubt in theory, he's probably not going to take another tight end. So with that,
I will say the one counter argument here is the wide receivers that are on the board. You got Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, Butte, Marvin Mims, Raheem Jarrett. Like, there's a million of the same guy here.
Are pretty gross. I agree.
Well, it's not that they're that bad. It's just they're all the same guy. You know what I mean? I will say Dalton Kincaid and Darnell Washington those are kind of like the last guys at tight end. So I
Mm-hmm.
think there is a reasonable argument that could be made for a Dalton Kincaid here if he gets first round draft capital. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's
Right.
crazy, but I'm not trying to influence your pick. I just want to make it
No,
aware
no,
that it is a good
and I understand.
thought process
Yeah.
there.
So and then the person that has the 203 took they took Gibbs, Charbonnet, and
No, 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 no.
Jordan
That's
Addison.
no, no, no. That's Oh
Um,
wait, yeah, it is. Sorry, you're
yeah,
right.
it
I'm
is.
sorry. I'm so
Yeah,
wrong. I am so
it's all
wrong.
good. So with that team, like they took Gibbs, Charbonnet, and Addison, and see, they have for tight end, they're okay at tight end. Like they have, they have Trey McBride, Higby, which they could honestly take a tight end there. So
hmm
uh,
Where are you
I
going
really
with
do
it?
love Zay Flower. I know I really do love Zay Flowers. I love him more than you, but
It's a good.
I
It'd
do
be a good for a wide receiver too.
it would be, but I do agree with you that there's a lot of wide receivers there that kind of do the same, very similar things.
hmm
But there is a drop off. But
it's a
I
close one.
know,
It's definitely a close one.
it is a toss up, and I think I would rather have my wide receiver two, and I'm going to go with Zay Flowers.
All right, fair enough. Fine. That's totally fine.
I
Um,
know, I know.
yeah, I mean, you like him more than I did. I would probably
Yeah,
rather have Jalen Hyatt personally. I think he gives you a little bit more
yeah,
upside, but in a PPR league, Zay Flowers, pairing him with Jalen Waddle could be
yeah.
good. So no, I
Yes,
definitely
yes,
like
yeah,
it for
yeah,
this team.
yes. I mean, I would rather have Zay Flowers than Hyatt. I think Hyatt's more of that is going to be more of the guy that explodes one week and then doesn't show up the next.
Sure.
So I would rather have more consistent. I would rather have more consistency at my wide receiver two, and then maybe put Hyatt at my flex and feel a little bit better about that.
Yeah,
So.
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, and that's unfortunate for you because this pick is actually going to be Dalton Kincaid. I told you. I told you
Yeah,
it was going to happen. This is just a luxury pick at this point in time
yeah,
because, he did take Jahmyr Gibbs. He took Zach Charbonnet. He
yeah,
took Jordan Addison. And this team, if you weren't here yesterday, it's pretty solid. It's got,
yeah,
quarterback-wise, it's got Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Kenny Pickett. And, it's still only a one quarterback league, but transitioning over, it's still fine. Running back wise, you got Gibbs and Charbonnet, but you've also got Damian Harris, you've got Tony Pollard, Rashad White. So a few guys there. Receiver, you've got a lot of potential with two studs in DK Metcalf, Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you've got Drake London, Dotson, Wandale Robinson, and Jameson Williams, and you got Jordan Addison. So, it's definitely just a I don't think the running backs really make a big splash at this point in time, and I don't think the
mm-hmm.
receivers are really an upgrade. At most, they're a wash, and you're just trading potential for potential at that point in time. So,
Yeah,
I think Dalton Kincaid could be the best bang for your buck at this point in time, and everyone is talking about him being a first round pick. So, I just think that you're going to be able to get what a lot of people call the best tight end in this draft class at the 2-3. I think is just it makes a lot of sense for this team.
it does. It does. No, I agree with that. If I was that team, I would smash the draft button on Dalton Kincaid as fast as I could.
I was hoping you'd take Dalton Kincaid at
So,
2-2 though, because then I was going to take my other guy, Darnell Washington.
oh, hey, that is very fair. That is very fair.
So he was
So,
getting he's getting a tight end either way, but fair enough.
right,
Fair
right,
enough.
right.
All
So,
right, now
all
I'm
right,
back on the clock. Well, you're on the clock with my pick, so you already took
yes. So
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, yes.
Break my roster down for me. Decimate it. It's terrible.
All right, all right. At quarterback, he's pretty solid with Prescott and Fields and Lance. I'm not worried about that. At running back, it's interesting because he does have playoff Lenny, but he doesn't have a team. So,
It's
he's
true.
getting older. You got Barkley Swift, which is a toss up anymore. And really that's about it, unfortunately.
Gainwell could be
I mean,
something, but
yeah,
more than likely
he could
not.
be very yeah, he could be interesting, but I don't think he's the long-term solution.
Right.
Right. And then at wide receiver, like we just got JSN, you got Keenan Allen, You got Chris Godwin, CD Lamb, which is fantastic. Gabe Davis up and down, but could be fantastic.
Right.
Um,
Dude,
you got Rashad Bateman.
I need to do a video on Gabe Davis because, like, I just don't
Yes,
understand why people are so down on him. Like, I don't understand that like he didn't have the
it's
best
be,
wide receiver two
it's
season, but he was fine.
it's because he was overhyped so much in the offseason and then he disappointed is
Yeah,
why.
but who? I mean, that's
Who
expectations.
cares? I know.
Like
I
that's
know.
your
I know.
expectations.
So yeah. So I think here I really want to give you Tajay Spears because I love Tajay Spears,
Ooh,
but but I think draft capital wise, I think he's probably going to end up being a day 3 pick, and that's what worries
maybe
me about a lot of these running backs
he might have
at
done
this
enough
point.
to get to, but
Right.
yeah, I agree
So
with you. Scary.
yeah, that's what worries me because there's not as big of a hit rate for those guys compared to those that are drafted, in a day 1, day 2 pick. So I think I'm going to go with your favorite guy at running back left with Israel Abanaconda.
Oh, you're changing it up on me.
Yeah, I'm
Ah,
going to
okay.
change it up with.
All right, all right. I was gonna take him with the next
So
pick, so it's all good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So I yeah. So yeah. So I do feel good with Abaconda right here. I do feel he's a very good runner,
oh
and
yeah,
I think he has the potential to to be something different for your team. You
sure.
know, and be that guy that can
He's such a
if
fluid pass catcher, man. Like,
yes,
oh,
yes,
so good. It's
yeah,
so good. No, I like that a lot. I mean, I was gonna take him with the 2.5 if you didn't take him at 2.4, so
right.
it's all good there. But I actually like. Ah, man, that's tough. Quarterback wise, you still got Hendon Hooker, Bryce Young, Will Levis. Nothing. I just don't want a quarterback on this team.
No,
Wide receiver wise, I do have the 211, so that's
mm,
6 picks from or 5 players are going to go between now and then, and then I
yeah,
also have the 3-4. So I'm going to have quite a few picks in the next round, basically, right? So
yeah,
there's still a lot of guys that I like a lot. Like you got your later shots on Xavier
hmm
Hutchinson, Parker Washington. These guys that I
hmm
like a little bit more than that. Um, there's just so many guys that can be the same thing. So I think I'm going to double down on running back. I feel pretty good if I can get Jackson Smith and Jigba in round 1.
hmm
I feel pretty good about just going for another running back here. I'm just trying to decide which one I would want. That's the problem. And in reality, all these guys, it's all going to come down to draft capital, right? And
absolutely, yes,
there's nobody here that really stands out. They're all in the same tier for me anyway on my
hmm
rankings. If you haven't heard my last round of rankings, Sean Tucker would probably be the leader of the pack, but I'm going to go with Tajay Spears, who you just
I
talked
love
about.
it. Yep.
Um, and hopefully he's got day 2 draft capital, but we'll
Yes.
kind of confirm that after the NFL draft. But yeah, Tajay Spears, I like his upside a lot. He is a very explosive player, and I don't think he's going
hmm
to be a 30 touch kind of guy, but 15
No.
touches a game and maybe he gets like 4 or 5 targets. That's
hmm
pretty good.
That that's
So
that's fantastic.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
no, I like
Yeah.
doubling down with both of these guys.
Mm,
And again, these could be swapped out for Sean Tucker, Zach Evans, Tank
absolutely.
Bigsby. I'm
Absolutely.
never drafting Devon a chain.
I
Um,
that's who I was gonna ask you, is
no, man,
I've
no.
been hearing a lot about him,
I don't care.
and
Like, you can't pay
I
me to
know.
draft him. That's the problem. Again, just like Bryce Young, I'm not drafting the outliers in a negative sense. Like, for
No,
him
I
to do
understand that.
something for fantasy, he would be the all-time outlier for a running back. It's just,
Yeah, he would be.
why am I him and Deuce Vaughn? It's like they're off
Yeah,
my draft board just because I don't.
yeah.
You would have to be an outlier of an outlier, and it's just I'm good. Like, I'll take other guys with upside, and you can
Right,
just
no.
go to someone else's team
I
and clog
I
their
do
roster.
understand that. No, and I fully agree with that. I fully agree with you, and I do love the Tajay Spears pick. I think if he gets the capital, he's
He could be
I
good,
feel
man.
he runs very yeah, he runs very angry, which I
Oh
love
yeah.
seeing my running back run angry and run downfield and not get too uh I don't want to say jukey, but
Yeah,
like
not
they're
like Isaiah Pacheco where he's on crack. You know what I mean? But
exactly like where they're trying to get cute at the line of scrimmage and not go forward.
right, like Isaiah
So
Pacheco, every time he gets in the open space, I'm like, dude, just run. Like you got
right,
nobody
right,
within 5 yards. He's just like jittering around. I'm like, just
yeah,
run, man, run straight. But no, I get that 100%. So, yeah, if you haven't seen his combine highlights, man, just watch him hit those holes. I know it's
right,
unblocked and everything, but oof, oof, he hits them
yeah,
hard.
yeah. So
All right, so now you're back
yeah,
up
so
on 2-6. Now this is
yep,
the 2-2 who had Zay
yep,
Flowers. You were hoping
yep.
that Dalton Kincaid would make it to
Yeah,
you. So who you looking here?
I was hoping and praying, and I could double up and get another wide receiver here, but
I mean,
there's no
Jalen
one I
Hyatt is still
really.
here.
He is, but I don't like Jalen Hyatt. I would rather have
Tillman?
Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with the other tight end that
Yeah,
we
my
like in this
guy.
draft, and Darnell Washington.
Yeah, the upside
So
play.
yeah, it is upside. I think him and Anthony Richardson are two pretty big unknowns
Oh, for
in this
sure.
draft.
For sure.
And I feel with these guys, it can either go big or crash and burn. So it's going to be very, very interesting what happens with.
All right, so I'm back on the clock here with 2-7, and I do like that pick a lot. Um,
Yeah,
this team needed a tight end. Luckily,
yeah,
there's two guys here that I think were
yes,
fine.
yeah,
Obviously, you'd rather have Dalton Kincaid. He's more
hmm,
likely of the two at this point in time to have the first round draft capital, but there is talks about Washington going in the first as well. So at
right,
this point, nothing would shock me. All right, so I'm back on the clock at 2-7. This team is a very good team. They're a playoff team, weren't able to get over the edge. Even man, it's crazy this team lost, but they just needed a little bit more last year and they would have been fine. But they've got
hmm,
Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, James
love it.
Conner, Josh Jacobs, Dobbins, Gibson, Algier. In round one, we took Kendrick Miller to add to that group there, so I love that. Wide receiver, you got Cooks, Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper,
We
Mike
actually, well, yeah,
Williams.
well, never mind.
Huh? Oh, yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
I was about to say like we added Michael Mayer,
We
but
did.
he did have the
Yeah,
110,
yeah, yeah.
and I completely forgot he had the 110, and I was about to say like what happened, but
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, we got Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Darnell Mooney, Kadarius Toney, Traylon Burks, Alec Pierce. A lot of guys there at receiver. No real alpha dog there, but I don't think there's an alpha dog left here in the draft.
Yeah,
Um, and then we got Darren Waller paired with Michael Mayer at the tight end position, so I like that a lot as well. Give me Jalen Hyatt here. I just think adding another body to this wide receiver room as a potential, and I know you don't like him a ton, but if he can
I
break
don't.
out as a deep threat, that's kind of what this
Mhm.
team needs. It's got a lot of possession guys,
Yeah,
but it just needs, Mike Williams is a deeper threat guy, but he's just always banged up. Brandon Ayuk, he's just a solid guy, but you need that guy that you can just throw in there and, oh, I'm down and I need 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hyatt has the speed to do that. So I like Jalen Hyatt here for this team. It's not the best pick, but I mean we're at the back half of the second round, so it's you're being a little stingy
yeah,
here in your
absolutely.
evaluation. So
Yeah, absolutely. All
all
right,
right,
so at the 208,
first pick
we are
for this
picking
team.
again. Yeah, yeah, it is the first pick for this team. Uh, uh, they they finished third in this league, which is pretty good. Like uh, they got San Francisco's next starter in Sammy Darnold. So, so a very still injured Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, which is great. He's got an aging Derrick Henry, potentially suspended Alvin Kamara. He's got Rashad Penny, who has a new life in Philly, Nick Chubb, AJ Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Pierce, which he could potentially get replaced this year.
He's not getting.
And
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
I'm not going there today. Um,
yeah.
and 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 then at wide receiver, he has OBJ, who may or may not sign with the team this year.
Hopkins.
Um, yeah. He has He has Hopkins, he has Adams, he has DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Debo Samuel. John Mechie, which would be interesting. And he's pretty set at tight end with
Oh, for sure.
with Kittle and Joku and Knox. Like honestly, you could probably start at least two of those guys every week.
Yeah, when they're healthy, yeah.
Or yeah, as long as they're healthy. So
All
yeah,
three of
yeah,
those
as long as
guys
they're
have just
healthy.
like so many injury concerns.
Yes. Yeah. So I could go one of I'm with us being a one quarterback league right
For now.
now. For now, yes, it's for now. So I'm worried about a little bit about his running backs. Like I feel he has a very solid team. It's just a very it's an aging
Old.
team at this point.
Old as dirt.
Yes. Yeah, it is aging. But unfortunately, I don't really like a lot of running backs at this point.
I
I'm
know,
not a
it's
huge
rough.
fan of Zach Evans or Tank Bigsby. Sean Tucker's very interesting, but you're kind of going on upside.
Right.
I don't
Roshan
really
Johnson
feel
is the one that's and Chase
it's
Brown. Those two
he's
are the ones rising the
yes.
boards like crazy.
I agree. I agree with that. And those are very, very interesting. But I think I'm going to get set with quarterback with it going to Superflex, and I'm going to
Bryce
go with
Young.
Bryce Young.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm going with Bryce Young.
Yeah, the one downside is, it is one quarterback, but Jalen Hurts is his only quarterback right now because Kyler's
Yes,
injured
yes.
and Darnold is not going to be the starter. Let's be real.
No, I know that.
It's either going to be
I know.
Lance or it's going to be Purdy. It's not going to be Darnold. I
I
can
know.
promise you that
Oh,
much.
why not? Why not?
Because
Like
he's
he could.
garbage. We've seen it for 5 years.
That's
He's
true.
terrible.
That is true.
But no, I like it a lot. You're solidifying for the super flex when it happens. Yep. And this is a team that did give up Dak Prescott to me this last year. And, for, I forget what it was for AJ Dillon, straight up, I think it was. So not
A plus.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But when it's a one quarterback, that's pretty solid,
Right.
Solid of a trade.
Yeah.
But now that we're going to Super Bowl, he's like, I'd rather have Dak back. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But no, I do like it there. You are getting, you're getting the third quarterback in the 2-8 in a one quarterback, two quarterbacks potential.
I would be really happy there, like especially if you guys are going to transition to a super flex.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so team number 9 here, we've got their first pick of this draft as well. Patrick Mahomes, Daniel Jones at quarterback, the only two quarterbacks on this team. Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert. Let me just pull up all these teams here. All these players. Dalvin Cook, Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, Alexander Madison. So he's got the combo there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael Carter, Hassan Haskins. No real names of note. The only good guys he has on the running back squad are getting very, very old. You're hoping Madison can be something there. Wide receiver, though, I know he's absolutely loaded. He's got Robert Woods still, Michael Thomas. Maybe those guys can come back and do something. Curtis Samuel. But then he's got Hollywood Brown, Paris Campbell, Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson. It's a very good group of players. Deep as well. Very, very deep. Evan Ingram at tight end, Cole Kmet, and Pat Freiermuth. So he's very solid there as well. Like he doesn't really... He's going to have bad weeks, but it's tight end, so pretty much everybody's having bad weeks there.
Yep.
So I have two players in mind here, and I'm going to talk through them really quickly. First would be Hendon Hooker, and then the other would be a running back. You're talking like a Sean Tucker or somebody like that. Now, running back would be more beneficial for this season because that's, what would help him immediately, but, all the reports are Hendon Hooker is going to be a first-round pick at this point in time. And I believe it. I think that some team is going to trade up for him at the end of the first round to get that fifth-year option with him. He's older, but it doesn't matter. By the time his first contract is over, he'll be 30 years old. Does not matter for a quarterback whatsoever. So, he's going to go somewhere, and if he's getting traded for in the first round, or drafted in the first round, a team is going to be investing in him long term because he's drafting an injured player. He's got a torn ACL right now. He's not going to be cleared to start, I think, until like halfway through the season. So you're going to be benching him pretty much almost the entire year one because he has no time to get with the training camps or the reps and all that stuff. So you're not going to be throwing him out there at the end of this year, maybe like a week 17 or week 18 game just for a little bit of playtime. That's going to be about it, So if you're drafting Hendon Hooker, the team believes in the talent. Now, that said, you're invested in him early. Next year when we go to Superflex, he'd hopefully be a starter for said team, whoever it would be. He'd be fully healthy, and this team is very, very talented. It is obviously the 1-9, so they were runner up in the championship game. So it's a good roster, right? And more than likely they're not going to have a top pick next year when it is officially super flex, and all those top quarterbacks are going to be flying off the board. You'll probably be able to get a running back higher next year than you would this year, right? Or like a better running back later next year than you would this year. So I'm actually going to go with Hendon Hooker here. And it's mostly just because of the longevity there. Now, you could take Will Levis, and it all depends on the draft capital. There's the up and downs of these guys. We have no idea. If you wanted to invest in Will Levis here, I don't hate it, but I'd rather have Hendon Hooker personally, so I'm going to take him here with this pick. But, I'd be taking the quarterback here because I don't think you're going to have another shot at a good quarterback for any, reasonable time to come. So, more than likely at 1-9, you're going to be able to get a good running back next year versus a good quarterback. So I'm thinking forward with this roster a little bit there and just getting the quarterback position, adding a little bit of depth there because I have the luxury to, look at the quarterbacks there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I completely agree with that. Like sometimes if you're a better team in your league, like sometimes you have to set yourself up and not just always trade away those picks, which a lot of teams do sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is important to think ahead a little bit because it seems like some dynasty players only play for a handful of years when their teams are good, and then once the team sucks, they peace out. And thankfully, that hasn't happened in your league a lot.
Yeah, the benefit of this one is it's a work league, so unless people leave the company, we're going to be able to shame them for quitting essentially. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's super competitive. Like this is one of the most competitive leagues. It's not like it's just very hard. I mean, I'm an engineer. Trading with engineers is like the most excruciating thing. Tough. And I hope you guys are listening to this because I'm going to be linking it to you guys tomorrow. But I hope you guys listen to this. You guys are the most excruciating people to trade with in the world. Oh my gosh. Engineers are so detail oriented. It's insane to me.
Yeah, they are.
And I understand it because I am one, but goodness, anyway. So that leaves you up at number 10 here, 210. And this is the pick that had the 2-1. So, obviously the league winner last year.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. Josh Down was the pick. I took him at 2-1. Who are you leaning here at the 2-2 or the 210? Because you have the flexibility to just go whoever you want, essentially.
Right. And then with this player, like he does have the 303 after this. So, in a couple picks, he's going to be going again. So, I really feel okay not taking a running back here because there are
like 4 guys.
There are enough running backs there at that point that are kind of in the same tier that I would be happy with. I mean, I could go upside with Chase Brown or Rashawn Johnson, or even Sean Tucker, but I think I want to go Cedric Tillman.
Cedric Tillman, interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I was not expecting that.
Really? So I feel with him. I feel he is one of the outliers in this wide receiver group that we have. That he's this tall, lanky wide receiver that is more likely to do some of these contested catches, and I would prefer him over Jalen Hyatt. I think he has a better floor than what Jalen Hyatt had, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so that puts me at I'm going to just quickly go through my 211 here, my compensatory pick. So this league, again, it's a work league, but I got a compensatory pick for Tom Brady retiring. I gave up rights to the player, so he's on the waiver wires for anybody to claim if he unretires. But
pick him up.
Yeah, right. So I was thinking through here, Sean Tucker would be very interesting. And, again, it's gonna completely rely on draft spot here, but I think I would actually be looking at Marvin Mims with this pick. I got Jackson Smith and Jigba early at the 1-3.
Yeah.
But then in back-to-back picks, Abanaconda and Tajay Spears. So hopefully one of those two guys is a good player, that turns into something special. But yeah, I think that I'd be shooting for Marvin Mims because I do like the talent of this kid a lot. I really like Marvin Mims. People are finally starting to notice him. He's a little bit smaller. He's kind of like a Debo-ish type of player, but people are really starting to notice him, and they're like, well, why did you only run go routes essentially at Oklahoma? And he's like, that's all they asked me to do. I couldn't show more of my route tree because they didn't ask me to do more. And I think that the kid is very explosive and he's very, very fast. So, I think he's going to be a day 2 pick, and I think he's going to be a steal for somebody. He's going to be like an Alec Pierce where it's going to take a little bit of time for him to acclimate to a team, but Alec Pierce got the short end of the stick because he went to the Colts and they just fell apart. But this year should be a lot better for Alec Pierce, and I think Marvin Mims is going to be a diamond in the rough here especially at the 211 here. So
100%.
And again, I pick at 3-4, so it's 3 picks here away. I can definitely get one of, Roschon, Sean Tucker, Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby, Chase Brown, any of these guys. I can even, I hate him, but Devin Achane there, I can take a shot on him there. It's just I don't care in the third round. So yeah, not terrible there. So, all right, that is round 2 of our mock draft. We talked about it yesterday. We're going to be going through more depth of these classes later on after the actual NFL draft, because once you get into the third round, like right now, we're talking, we couldn't commit to Sean Tucker because we don't know where he's going to get drafted. We don't know him or Zach Evans or Tank Bigsby. We don't know which one of these guys is going to get drafted first. So at this point, it goes from a evaluation of how to fill these teams to a who do we like the best at this point in time. So we're just going to wait for actual NFL drafts to go a little bit deeper into the rookie mock drafts and, give our thoughts there. But no, I like the way that this one turned out. 2 rounds in, 1 quarterback league that's transitioning. So we got to give a few extra thoughts there. You see how the quarterbacks impacted it a little bit higher on, where you get the outlier players there. But no, I like it a lot. Any thoughts?
No, I do agree with you. I do feel that this is a very realistic look at what a 1 quarterback league is going to look like this year. And I do think it's interesting if you guys were to go to like a tight end premium, how much those tight ends would really affect the board there. I've
been fighting that battle for a long time. It's not going to happen.
I know that. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. So it's a very interesting draft this year. Like there's a few heavy hitters, but like a lot of these guys are very, very player oriented in what you like and what you want on your team.
Yep, 100%. So, yeah, obviously my team is rough. Like, my team is rough, man. Absolutely. I don't even know what to feel about my team. I'm so good at tight end and so good at on paper at tight end and quarterback, and it's like it's only one-off positions until we go to Superflex, and it's like
it's really
I need
sad.
5 of the I need 6 of the other guys. Like, CeeDee Lamb is fine. I've got a couple good receivers.
Decent,
Yeah, if I can get JSN, I'd be feeling a lot better for sure. But
absolutely,
Jahmyr Gibbs would not be bad at all either. So luckily I'm at 3, so I get my choice of those 2 guys. But I'm just gonna see if there's a wild card, at the top of the draft. Again, we talked about it yesterday, but if the 1-1 gets traded, that'd make things a lot spicier. And I think it'd be better for the team to trade out of the 1-1. I like Bijan a lot. I really do. But I'd, be considering a quarterback, a CJ Stroud there. But if you can trade out of it, that's definitely, and I know, like I said, the 1-2, he really wants it. So, you could probably formulate something, but
probably.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting mock. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Hit us up on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, at Dynasty_Dale. Again, the podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere you guys listen. If you can, leave a comment, subscription, review, anything, 5-star, whatever. Just helps out with the algorithm to pump it out to more people. So, and yeah, thank you guys again for joining us. Until next time, have a good night.